Alright, today we're going to go over a very basic but very important strategy on the SAT math section. It's called the plug-in. Plug-in method is one of those methods that the test takers don't really want you to know. This doesn't really work very well for a typical math question on a classroom test that you'll have, but in the SATs, this is a big method. This will definitely help your grades go up. Picture on the left is the Glade plugins. So whenever you see a difficult question that you could use as strategy, think about the sweet scent of tropical mist. Okay, so when do you want to use in the plug-in method? So for plug-in numbers, there's many SAT math problems that could be used and easier and also more concrete by just plugging in numbers for those variables. Now, the strategy is very powerful. It could be used on the SAT when answers are not given and like student-produced responses, for instance. When should you apply this strategy? You want to look for ones that have algebraic answers. That means x is your answer or n to the n times 3 over 2. Okay. Also questions that ask for the values of algebraic expressions instead of just the values of the variables. We're going to look at some examples of how to actually implement this in the next page. Alright, so how do you apply this strategy? First thing, you want to make up easy numbers like an integer, 2, 3, 4. You don't want to use 10.873, that just makes your math more difficult, right? The numbers must fit in the conditions of the question, meaning if it says x is greater than 0, you can't pick -2 or -3, because then one of the other answer choices will probably work there. All right. Next, the question asks for a value of an algebraic expression like n squared over 2. Plug in your numbers and then see which answer actually works. If the answers are algebraic as well, then you have to go through your answer choices with the number that you initially chose until you get a match. Now be careful, and many times you might get more than one answer. Whenever that happens, you have to try a new plug-in number with the choices that we have. Okay? Usually that happens in the last third or so of the questions that are more difficult. If you're able to eliminate some choices though, remember if you can eliminate 2 or more, it's worth actually guessing at that point if you run out of time. Okay, let's look at one of the easier examples that you'll see in the SAT where the plug-in method works really well. Question above says if a and b are positive integers, such that a plus b equals 9, then what is the value of b minus 9 divided by 4a? Just trying to solve this using your typical Algebra 1 math actually makes it a lot more difficult, so using in the plug-in method makes it a lot easier. For instance, let's just set a equal to 3. So a is going to equal 3, and then let's set b equal to 9 minus 3 would be 6. So a plus b, 3 plus 6 equals 9. What is the value of b minus 9 over 4a? New color pen, I'm going to show what that would equal by plugging in those numbers. So 6 minus 9 over 4 times 3. 6 minus 9 is -3. 4 times 3 is 12. If I reduce that, I get -1/4. And you see in your answer choices, that's actually one of our answers, letter C. In this one, you notice that the answer choices are just numbers. Okay, they're not variables, so it's going to be one of the answers. If it happens to be other numbers they use for a and b, as long as a plus b equals 9, it's still going to end up working out. You could try 2 and 7, just as a check, for instance. Alright, in this example, it's number 15 out of a 20-question test, so this is one of the last third. It's going to be one of the more difficult questions. You could still use in the plug-in method to solve it. Here it says, when each side of a square with side S is lengthened by 2 inches, which of the following represents the increase in square inches of the area of the square? Now, just simply reading it with S makes your brain a little more confused about what's going on. But what if I say when each side of a square with side 2 is length by 2, which of the following is the increase? That's using the plug-in method, and it actually sounds a little more easier to work with. So let's make S equal to 2. When each side of the length of side S is increased or lengthened by 2 inches, So it's going to be plus 2 more. That's going to equal 4. Which of the following represents the increase of the area? Okay, so then you need to know your equation for area of a square. You can look that up in your reference materials. 4 times 4, or the side squared, equals your area, and that equals 16. Now carefully you're going to plug in the number 2 for s into these equations and see which one works. So A, 2 squared plus 4 is 4 plus 4 is 8. That doesn't work. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. That works. But let's try the other answer choices to make sure there's not more than one that work. Obviously 4 wouldn't be 16. 2 times 2 plus 4 is 8. That doesn't work. And 4 times 2 plus 4 is 12. That doesn't work. So obviously choice B is going to be our answer. So we are able to get that question right in about a minute on a difficult question, just simply using the plug-in method. Okay, here are the bullet points that you want to remember in order to solve a plug-in question. As you practice this more and more, you'll start to get the hang of it, but it helps to look at these notes. You must do 3 simple things when plugging in. 1, replace your unknowns, your variables in the equation, with a value that works easily, your integers. 2, solve the problem using those numbers rather than the variable, right? Remember the previous example, s equals 2, just use that number 2 to solve it. Write down what number is your answer, and I'd recommend squaring it so you could look back at it. And then 4, replace that variable with the answer choices until we get that squared answer. I hope you received tremendous value watching this video. I use this strategy more than any other when I do practice SAT questions. If you're interested in more individualized one-on-one lessons, feel free to go to my website at www.gotodreamschool.com. We'll typically do the strategies together, and then I make review videos as this, and then make them more personalized with your examples that we do during the lesson. Any other questions, feel free to shoot me a comment down below, and good luck.